Sharella, MOTU Origins. I couldn't flip her. If I would have thrown her in the air, this is just like a slip cover. I never opened her. I never moved her. It came this way. There wasn't even a piece of tape on this figure securing it at all. Sometimes the stuff you get from the online does this, and I don't know why. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just packaged like any other figure. I can't figure out when they're making that decision and when they're not making that decision. This is, of course, from the new Power of Grayskull line, which is kind of cool. It's a kickback to what MOTU would have done had they not stopped when they stopped. And I think that's pretty cool. I think it's neat. I think it plays into the history of things. And we're also finally getting some characters that either A, we never got before, or B, were always kind of intended and everybody knows about them, but they never really got fleshed out. And I think that's neat. I absolutely love the design of this character. I think this is fantastic. That works very, very well. If you know me, like in terms of, I've talked about this before, when I play online, there are a couple things that I do with my characters. One, I go like redhead or nearing redhead on the brunette side, and I usually am an archer or a frontline sword fighter, and those are the two things that I normally play as. So this really fits big time. I like barbarian aesthetic, that's perfect. I like red-brown hair, that's perfect. I like bows, arrows, archery characters, that's perfect. Everything about her, I knew instantly this was a figure I wanted, without a doubt. This was one that the second she was announced, I was on there within the first minute to buy her, which was pointless. Look, I still very much love MOTU. I like MOTU Origins. I prefer Masterverse, if we're being perfectly honest, but I have noticed that for whatever reason, MOTU is slowing down. It's undeniably slowing down. Now, I'm not over here telling you that the line is dying. I'm not here to tell you stupid stuff like, oh, it's dying, it's not going to make it another year, or try any stupid crap like that. No. But I am telling you that one of two things, there's only two possibilities really. One, they are currently overproducing because originally it felt like they were underproducing. Or two, their brand is slowly losing steam in terms of how many people were buying it. And now, all these things that were coming out that were, I mean, these were selling out. You remember, these were hitting the store, the online and whatnot, and they were selling out in like under 3 minutes. Like, remember things like Frogmonger? Remember things like Grizzlor? Remember things like Wondar, where they had to go in and literally do made for order, they had to do made to orders because there was nobody could get their stuff. Like, people were like, I don't understand how, like, they're messing everything up, and like people were really mad about it because nobody could get anything, it seemed. I was pretty lucky. I got every single figure I shot for. Every single one that I ever went for, I got lucky. I got in within the first minute or so, and I got it. I was kind of lucky about that. And I was 100% noticing that I was getting lucky. There were even some times when I got in, and I was like, holy crap, let me get this. And then I put it in, and like my card, one time I remember I was in a bad area in my building, and because I'm working like this big, it's either metal or concrete everywhere. So where I was, my phone was very slow. And I remember I lost connection 2 different times before I finally got it to take my card, and it was like 15 minutes in. And then I remember it was about 20 minutes in that I went to refresh it, and they were sold out. And I was like, whew. I can't remember what figure that was, but I know I came real close on that one. Now, there's no rush at all. Like, now they announce a character like this. I even thought she was going to go. I think you could still just get on and get her. I don't think it's a big deal at all. Like the last 5 or 6 releases have just been simple. You just get on and get them. Like whenever you feel like you'd like to get them. There's no rush right now. Some could say that's a good thing. Some could also argue it could be a cause for concern as to where the line currently is and how it's performing. I don't know which of those to side with right now, but I am watching. So, let's open it. There, that was hard. I do like this. It comes with like this old like weapons box thing. This is actually pretty cool. I don't love this. I think it's just that whomever was supposed to put that in there didn't put it in there great. I don't think that it's terrible. If I was super concerned about this, I'd probably be mad. I'm not. I mean, it's still going to be readable, but it is kind of, it's like really bent up, and the corner of it is really mashed and everything. It was not put in there wonderfully. So I guess they're lucky that they sent it to me because I'm not that concerned about it, but I know people that would have flipped out over that. Some people really care about, like, keeping their stuff exactly how it is supposed to be or how they want it to be or whatever. Nope. I was hoping this would be a simple thing. It is not. She's, of course, tied in there. So, let me open her and we'll talk about her. Well, I guess this is just a stand. Like, there's nothing in it. Maybe it's a place to keep your weapons. This is a weird thing to pack in to increase the size of the package and, like, not be anything. I mean, like, I see no indication in the artwork. Maybe in the mini comic there's a reason. I don't know. But I got a box. Came with the box. I mean, cool? I don't know. I don't get it. Like, this really throws me off. Like, there's a thing here that's neat. If I had any understanding as to what that thing was. That, this, and this, that, and there. I got a box. There was nothing in it. I opened it. Nothing. The bow and the arrow was in the plastic. And she, of course, was in the plastic. So, like, I got a box. I don't mean to necessarily harp on that, but, like, it's weird. It's weird that they would include it. Like, and there's no purpose to it at all. Now, I haven't watched anybody else's review. I'm pretty careful about that. I try to stay away from people's reviews until I have had a chance to talk about a figure. That way it doesn't hard influence me. But, like, weird. So, one thing I'm liking right off the bat about this figure, aside from the fact that that's pretty much perfect. Like, that's exactly what I want from a barbarian-esque figure. This is perfect. I like the top. I like the fuzzy shorts. I like the boots. Maybe a little more paint would have been cool, but this is Origins. It's designed to kind of feel like an old toy. Mission accomplished. They did it. It does. It feels modern because it does have better articulation, and it has arguably better paint than they would have had back then. But at the same time, they do slack on parts of it, not calling them out. They slack on parts on purpose to kind of give that old feel. It's supposed to feel like a toy that would have come out in the 80s that you would have bought when you were a kid. Spot on. Normally, they're perfect about this. They put just enough in to modernize and leave just enough out to make it feel like it's supposed to feel. It's fantastic. So, the quiver is an effect for what it's worth. Those are not a bunch of arrows. They're just like they're fake. I mean, they're sculpted in. Like, these don't come out. There is a hole in there with just enough for one arrow to go in, and that's the one that she would, of course, then pull out to use in the bow. That's pretty cool for what it's worth. They did not sculpt her a new hand, however. That might not seem like a big deal, but there's a very real chance that she needed a new hand in order to make this work. Because you take this out, and if you want her to, like, hold the arrow, yeah, this is... Can I get it? This is rough. Maybe if I bend the hands a very... I don't think I'm going to get it. This arrow is practically useless. Like, I'm sure that maybe if I messed around with it enough, I might get it. But it would need to be absolutely perfect. And it's... Oh, did I get it? No, I didn't get it. This arrow's bad. I get the idea. I even kind of appreciate the idea. It's cool. It was a cool idea. But getting a picture with this arrow in her hand is going to take, like, tack. Like, I'm going to have to put tack in her hand and then secure the arrow into the hand via tack and then pull the arrow back and then put this in her hand, which this, of course, will go right in her hand. That's not going to be an issue at all. There. It's there. She's got it in her hand. Like, but I don't see it happening. That's the problem that I have. I'm pretty sure the idea is that she would hold the bow with this hand. Maybe I am wrong, but I feel like she would be taking the arrows out of here. Or would she reach over? Would you reach over and take an arrow out? Or would you reach down and take an arrow out? I don't know in terms of her. It looks like, by the looks of it, it's this hand. This is the hand that should be holding the bow. So she is left-handed in terms of where she holds the bow. In terms of her draw hand, that looks like it's the right. It's cool. Most of the time, just to give them their out, okay? Most archery characters in most figures, when you include arrows, they're pointless. Most figures either do not have the hand to actually hold the arrow, or two, they don't have the movement to actually hold the arrow convincingly. Like, they may be able to hold the arrow, but they can't, like, move in a way that makes it believable. Or three, you do have the arrow, and you do have the bow, but using it will damage the bow. And that's a real thing, too. In fact, it happens with Dark Wolf from Frazetta Icons. He has an actual bow with an actual pull string. Like, there's an actual wire on it, and it can actually pull. He can actually do it. He has the fingers to actually hold the arrow, and he can actually pull the bow back, and he can do that. But when he does it, it actually pulls the wire and forces the bow to move, and it causes damage that then makes that figure, like the bow, the next time you go to use the bow, it's like bent, and that wire gets loose, and then it starts hanging, and you've got to like try to play with it where you like wrap it around the top again. So you like take it and you pull it up and you wrap it up, and then you kind of recreate the tension. But you can only do that so many times before you've caused a problem where now the bow is like too bent in. Arrow characters, when it comes to figures, they're rough. It's always a give and take as to what you're going to get out of it. Like with her, this arrow's ridiculous. But the bow is just a simple plastic, and you could very much set her in a way where she can hold the bow down like this, and she can bring her hand out or something, and she could very much get into a stance where she's kind of pulling said arrow back. Maybe not. So there's this. It kind of. Once again, I'm willing to leave this alone a little bit here. This is a toy that is meant to feel like an old toy. Okay? So by the grounds of that, this would probably be fine. If I was a kid and I'd have got this, and it was the early 90s, and it would have had a bow. In fact, I did have a couple characters that had like crossbows and stuff like that, and I would just put it in their hand, and it never bothered me. That was never a thing that I was too worried about, and I'm sure that most of the adult collectors that are collecting this line, me included, know what this is. It's made to feel like an old toy. Can I get some good shots with it? I think that I could. I have a couple of dinosaurs and whatnot, and I actually think that I could probably take her outside. I could set her up properly. I could have the dinosaurs, and with a couple good tricks with the camera, I could probably get something real cool with her. I wish she also had a small sword. I can get her one. I have plenty of MOTU stuff. But it would have been neat to have a sword, especially since her weapons are more painted than other characters' weapons. So like her bow has the string that's one color, this little part up here which is that gold, this down here which is one color where she holds the bow, it's like a wrap, and then that goes into the gold, and then that goes into the wood. That's pretty good. For what we're looking at, that's a lot of paint apps on her one weapon, where other characters like Wondar, all his weapons are just brown. Brown gun, brown axe, brown sword, and no indication whatsoever that they're anything. He may as well have wood weapons. Like there's no wrap on it or anything like that. There's nothing down at the hilt. You just have what you have, and then you get over it. But like I said, that is part of this line. It's designed to be that way. That's the reason I let a lot of it go. It doesn't really bother me, but it is something to talk about. Lastly, her face. I saw some people, and by the way, she also has a lot more paint apps than I've seen on some other figures. Because, does she have upper torso movement? No, she doesn't. It's misleading. They actually left enough of a gap right here that it made me feel like maybe she had a new joint that the other figures don't have. She does not. Also, a little bit of realism, and this is going to be weird for me to call out, but it's a little bit of realism. People in action figures are always perfectly proportionate. Like, it's a weird thing to bring up, but it's true. When you look at the female characters that usually come out in the line, these are both perfect all the time, and one side never is bigger than the other or whatever. Not true here. I don't know if this was sculpted on purpose, but it's real. This entire thing is pulled slightly over here instead of being perfectly down the center of her chest. That's realistic. It's an interesting, tiny little piece of realism that may be on the toy accidentally, but it's there, and it's interesting, and I kind of like it. It's kind of neat, actually. The face is pretty good. I heard some people got really bad faces. Mine and my camera never does very well with this, but I got a pretty good face. Also, I have to say one thing about her that's kind of interesting. She looks like when I'm looking at this figure, she looks like she may have two possible real world things, people that I could call out that like would have played her perfectly. Like, I don't know this for sure, and maybe I'm seeing something in my mind's eye that's not there, but I think had somebody been casted to play this person, two people come to my mind right off the bat with this, with her in general, as to who she actually looks like, as well as the artwork that comes with her specifically, like this, here, and here. I think, realistically, the girl that played Mystique, her name is Rebecca, is it Romaine? Her name is Rebecca, I think. The woman that played Mystique and is currently playing number 1 in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I think when she was younger, she could have played this person. I think that would have been real cool. And also, strangely enough, I actually wonder if they modeled part of that face off a younger Carmen Electra. It could just be coincidence, but it seems like if you put a beauty mark on her, she could probably be that person. That's all my first impression that I get out of her. Is the hair in the way? No. Surprisingly, no. She cannot look up. She can look down. I think she's cool. I think my legs are a little funny. But then again, that's true for most of the MOTU figures, if you want the truth about it. She does have some ankle rock here, so I'll be able to fix it. Curious, if I put her down right now, will she stand if I put her down? Can I get you to stand easy? Yeah, no problem. She's standing. Fantastic. That's interesting. She's good. I like her. Very simple, exactly what she's meant to be, but she fits that barbarian status perfectly. Like I said, I like the animal fur, I like the face, I like the design. It would have been cool if they would have went out of their way to sculpt a little more muscle and ab work onto her, as opposed to some of the other females in the line, because you could see that she seems like she must have strong legs and everything. She just appears to me in the artwork like she's probably strong. Like, look at that. She has like abs in the artwork. I'm not saying that other characters don't, but like there's a difference. Like when you see She-Ra's magic power. She doesn't have to be strong. She can look literally like a supermodel or some sort of television actress, literally perfect frame, but not muscular, and she is still believable as a warrior because she has magic power. You can't really get away with that with Teela. She needs more of an athletic build. You have to believe that she can do the things she's doing. And I think this is also the truth. I'm not going to call it out because all of them are built like this. Pretty much this is still the same interchangeable female parts that we've had throughout the entire line. I could pull the legs off, you wouldn't notice. I could pull the entire bottom off, you wouldn't notice. I could pull the arms off, you wouldn't notice. I could switch this with 5, 6, 7, 8 different characters in rapid succession, and maybe the skin tone would give away the fact that I was switching things, and that's about it. It's a good figure. It really is. And I'm actually looking forward to when, because right now, there is a new line of Conan figures coming out. And they're built to kind of look like this. They're very much built in this scale and this design. There's a Conan, Red Sonja, and there's a skeleton that's coming out. And I'm actually looking forward to putting her with them, not with them. Like, she just feels like she would belong with the Conan characters. And I'm thrilled for that, because that's kind of what I want, is stuff that intermixes into my barbarians, Not so much things that sit on the MOTU shelf and will only ever really be recognized as MOTU. But that's fine. And, I mean, I did get a box. So, yay.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.